Good evening. Welcome to our Restore Yoga class. As always, if you have yoga props, that is ideal. Any kind of yoga props, even homemade ones. So especially having some sort of cushion or bolster, couch cushions work, or pillows, or something that you can use maybe under your legs or to lie on. Blocks also work, soft foam blocks or books or anything covered with a blanket can make it a little bit softer. Folded blankets, folded towels, etc. I also have a cushion as we are a meditation cushion as we're going to start seated tonight. But again, folded blankets or towels underneath to raise the hips a little. And yeah, anything that you think might help make your practice more comfortable. I'm going to make my way to my mat and we'll start with the tall seat. So once you find your mat, you can start to settle in to your body. You can start to settle into your breath. Settle into your space. Bring the hands to a comfortable position, either resting on the legs or in the lap somewhere, together or apart. And perhaps close your eyes or just gaze softly, relaxing the eyes. We start to breathe. My theme this week has been showing up for ourselves. You can take that in so many ways. Tonight, we're showing up for ourselves with love, with compassion, with gentleness. Treating our bodies truly like the temples that they are. And then along the way, showing up for anything that comes up, accepting it as part of self, not the only part of self, but as part of our beingness here on earth, and acknowledging, accepting, even thanking and loving the parts of us that are ours. Moving through the parts that don't need to stay. Releasing the parts that we see that aren't even ours. By carving out this safe space, we are showing up for ourselves, body, mind, and spirit. So it goes without saying that as you move tonight, you listen to your body, you move within a pain-free range of motion, staying away from any pinching or shooting sharp pains, numbness and tingling in the extremities. We want to support our practice as much as possible, and that's why we have props. If you get cold, you cover yourself with a blanket, put some socks on. Slowly start to bring some movement in the body. You might open your eyes, you may not. And we're going to slowly start to rock back and forth, forward on the sit bones and backwards. And then we could start to add some spinal movement. As we come forward, we press the heart forward, pull the shoulders back. As we come backwards, we round through the back. Start to link it with breath. Inhaling forward and exhaling back. Beautiful. 2 more of those. Going as slow or as rhythmically as your body wants to. And then come back to center. Just notice already how that feels for you. Now we're going to start going in circles, drawing the heart forward over to the right and rotating it around that center column. From the pelvis all the way up to the head, forming large circles. See if you can get the ribs involved. One more in this direction. And then other direction. One more in this direction. And we'll come to the center again, sitting tall. Noticing the parts of the body that feel a little more awake. Inhale, reach those arms up above. And exhale down through the center, thumbs towards the heart, palms together. 2 more of those. Sweep out the space around you, and with a cleansing exhale, purify that space. One more time. Beautiful. Reach the arms all the way up. And we'll just get into the shoulders a little bit. Let's come down to 90 degrees or parallel to the earth. So really it's the arms are forming one long 180-degree line. Palms up. And then we're going to start to sway side to side. Again, recruiting the intercostal muscles of the ribs, recruiting the waist, the core, the shoulders, the head and the neck. And you can start to rotate the arms in the shoulder sockets as well, externally rotating the one that you're leaning towards and internally rotating the one you're leaving behind. You can bend the elbows slightly and make it as fluid and as slow and snake-like as you wish. Let's do this 4 more times at your own pace. And when you're all done, reach the arms up And drop that right arm down. Let's lean over to the right, stretching out the side body on the left. All the way up. And lean over to the left, stretching out that side body on the right. Come all the way back to center and take a tall seat again. Feel the difference in the body, the flow, the attunement to your breath, to your rhythm. We start to walk the fingertips in front of us, coming to stretch out over those legs, palms on the earth. Let the head and neck go. If at this point you want to start using support and bringing something under the forehead, go for it. And come all the way back up. For the sake of balance, we'll cross the legs the other way. So the opposite foot is in front. You can shift and shimmy and make it comfortable, make it yours. And again, walk those hands out in front, palms on the earth, and release here. Again, perhaps some support underneath the head is already warranted. As you melt between the shoulders, as you let the head and neck go, and then come back to center. I'm going to take my cushion out from under me. Mine's a little bit higher, but you can decide if you need to do this or not. And we're going to come into a deer pose with the left leg forward and the right leg back. So in deer pose, both knees are bent 90 degrees. The right leg is externally rotated. The left leg is internally rotated. That right hip's probably a little bit off the ground. That's okay. And then what we're going to do is start to walk ourselves over that left leg. You can decide at what level you hold on. If it's higher up, we have the opportunity to really melt in and relax through the outer left hip, the glutes. If you start to come a little further forward, you might need a prop at this point to lean on, perhaps even something to bring your head down on. And we feel it here. We breathe with every inhalation, bringing in open arms, all the parts of yourself. With every exhalation, we feel them sigh, welcomed home. As we move through practice, often emotions do come up, different sensations in the body. If you experiment with me today, what would happen if we didn't try to fix them or judge them or attach stories to these feelings, emotions, sensations? If we just held space. 2 more breaths here. We press ourselves up. Walk that left arm beside you. Maybe you can make it all the way down onto the elbow. Maybe you need something to catch you, and reach up and over with the right arm, continuing to melt into the earth. And then we can circle that around and walk the right fingertips as far right as you can. And just for a moment, stay there, or maybe even hand behind the head, or maybe even reaching over. And then we'll come all the way back up and go to deer pose on the other side. So right leg this time is internally rotated and left leg is externally rotated. We turn towards that right leg and we either hold ourselves over or decide which angle we'd like to fold. We can go down deeper, eventually making a place for our heads to rest. We start to tune in to the stories our body's telling us by feeling, by listening, and again, not overthinking it, not trying to fix anything unless, of course, there's pain or unproductive discomfort. Just noticing. Welcoming those tight hips. Welcoming the relief. Welcoming the restrictions. Welcoming the softness and the not so softness. Holding space for your body to be your body, for your feelings to be your feelings. No explanations needed. Even for your thoughts to just be, without stopping them or pushing them away, nodding, acknowledging, and see what happens. Slowly press ourselves up, come over to the right side, either on the elbow or on a prop. Reach up and over with the left arm. And then sweep it in front of you and through until you can walk the left fingertips as far left as they will go and either stay here, bring the hand behind the back of the head, or reach it. And come all the way back up. Bring those legs out in front of you, maybe you windshield wiper a few times. And you'll come back to a tall seated position. Maybe you need something underneath your sit bones again. We're going to take that left leg, keeping the right one as a base, and come to cradle around the ankle at first. And just kind of swish it back and forth. You can see if you can bring it closer. You might rock back and forth on the sit bones. Just explore that hip joint. And then place it down so that you can take hold of your foot and just move your foot bones around, bending the toes, loving your foot, maybe a little bit of massage. Get around the ankle and all those tender spots of the attachments around the joint, in between the toes, and do some circles. And then again, you can take the ankle in your hand and rock it back and forth. If you feel like you could come a little bit deeper, you might even cradle the whole lower leg and just rock side to side, back and forth on the sit bones to explore. If that bottom leg is uncomfortable, it could always come out in front of you, or even bend and help you support that bottom leg in a number 4 position. And then find center for a moment. Close the eyes. And release. Give that leg a shake. Come back to that cross-legged pose, this time with the right foot in the front. And then we take that right leg by the ankle and we rock a little side to side. We bring it forward and back. Just bringing some mobility to the hip joint. Whatever that means for you, how much mobility can your body give you in this moment? And then we'll set it back down and start to get some movement in the toes. You can manually move the toes independently of each other. You can flex and point the foot. Get in between the metatarsals. Maybe a little massage. The heel and around the ankle. Getting those great acupressure points around the external and internal malleoli. Those are the big knobby joints that you feel at either side of the ankle. And then make some circles. And then again, we can come to cradle that leg. Maybe bringing that left leg out in front. Maybe even coming to a number 4 pose, bending, helping to support with the left leg underneath. And we rock. We cradle that leg. Just find a little movement in there. And then we find center. Either with the support of the bottom leg or without. Close your eyes for a moment and soften. And slowly release it down. Bring both legs out in front. Give them a shake. Nice. So we're going to come into a supported forward fold. You may need more than one prop here. It depends if you want it completely supported, but we want it to be fairly passive. So you're not pulling your body forward. Your legs are out in front of us, like a Paschimottanasana, but perhaps you have something to catch your head on the way down, whether it's a nice bolster cushion combo like I have here that I can hug onto, or even if it's just one cushion to catch the head as we melt forward. It's not to feel any strain in the low back. It's to feel this complete surrender and folding inwards of a forward fold. So get yourself situated and melt into that. You could have the hands up passively. You could be hugging your props. You could be touching your legs. Just know pulling yourself forward and deeper. We want the body to get there naturally. Embrace where you are. We'll do 3 more long, slow, deep breaths here. And then slowly make your way up. We're going to do almost the same thing, but parting the legs into V. And then again, having some sort of support to catch you on the way down. If you don't have a support too, you can use your hands to catch you and just make sure your upper body is passive, your head and neck are melting. If you do have a support, you can make sure it's catching you where your head falls. And again, we start to melt into this one. So unlike a hatha yoga class or any kind of more yang based yoga class, here we're really trying to find a sustainable position where we're accepting exactly where our body wants to go and melting into right there and watching what happens when we say yes, we nod, we accept. And then the body starts to trust. And then we're also targeting less the muscles and more the fascia, more that casing where we do hold so much. We're holding space for these areas to be acknowledged. And hopefully for energy to start to flow with more ease. And then slowly make your way back up out of that firefly pose. Move your props out to the side. Reintroduce those legs. Give them a little shake or some windshield wipers. And then we'll come into Badakanasana, Cobbler's pose, feet together, knees fall apart. If those knees would prefer having something catch them on the way down, then you can shove some pillows under there or some blocks. You could take hold of the ankles and just passively fold forward here. As always, you could have something to catch you as you fold forward. But whenever you've found your sit bones, you've found the place that you can sustain, then you can let go. We'll take 3 more breaths here. And then slowly start to make our way back up. Reintroduce the knees, hug them together, and then keeping props nearby, we'll make our way down towards our back. Keep the knees bent on your way down. And once you get down there, let the body readjust now to being on its back. Maybe let the knees knock in towards each other, feet mat width apart. Let the pelvis settle. And then slowly we're going to make our way into a number 4 pose again, but on our backs. And now the difference this time is we're going to be using that bottom leg, left ankle over that right thigh. And to lift the legs towards us, we have several options. We might not need to do that. We can just let it hang out here. Perhaps you want to bring that foot a little higher with support. And so you bring something underneath that right foot, maintaining both sides of the pelvis still on the ground, just starting to bring that closer. If you have a wall with close thigh. You may even use the wall to bring that right leg all the way to a perpendicular angle to the floor. And then the wall is holding that right leg up. We're encouraging that left leg out to the side. You can take any arm position you desire. And hold it there. A little deeper here. Of course, traditionally, you can always hold that leg as well. But I'd like to avoid using as much muscle as I could possibly use. Let the body melt. Let the breath flow. One more breath here. And then we can uncross, do whatever you need to do between sides, and then decide on the right side where you'll be. So again, your feet may be on the floor or on a prop. Right ankle crosses over that left thigh. And you hold it there. Or if there's a wall nearby again, you might want to bring that left thigh a little closer to the body while maintaining the contact with the earth, with your sacrum there. And again, finding softness, acknowledging all the feelings, acknowledging all the thoughts, even acknowledging the judgments that come up. But holding space for what is. We don't want to hold on to the stories, attach ourselves to the judgments and the explanations. Holding here for 2 more breaths. And then slowly letting go. Doing whatever you need to do, maybe some windshield wipers, maybe some rocks and rolls. And now we're going to get a little bit more extension through the front body here as we come into a supported bridge pose. So Setu Bandhasana bridge, as you might remember, arms are close into the sides and the knees are pointing straight up as we lift those hips up. A supported bridge, we have something to catch our hips. And so that they're resting on it. We're not using muscle to hold them up there, although that's a great way to do it too. But in a restore class, we want to be able to get that gentle stretch of the fascial tissue of the front body there, but without having to muscle it in there. So we lift those hips up and we nudge a pillow, a cushion, a couch cushion, something that our sacrum can land on. We do try to keep the knees generally pointing in the same direction and upwards instead of flailing out to the sides, and the four corners of the feet on the floor, feet parallel, and arms can come out beside you. So we feel this ever so slight bit of traction through the torso as the hips are drawn up out of flexion. Still a tiny little bit in there, most likely. But there's no pinching in the low back, no compression. The buttocks are not squeezed to keep you up there. They should be relaxed. And we hold here. Making space through that front body. From knees all the way up towards the center of the sternum. Shoulders falling back. And then 3 more breaths here. We lift the hips up slightly and slide that cushion or prop out of from underneath. Land the sacrum back down on the earth. Maybe knees in, feet apart again in a wrist repose, letting everything melt. Now we're going to come into some supported twists on our back here. So you either might want a cushion to catch your knees as they come over to the side. Another alternative, if you want to bring the knees in a little bit closer to you, a cushion between the knees as they come over to the side. And then it's up to you. You can leave the body turned in generally the same direction as those knees. You could start to open yourself up to the ceiling. You could even start to gaze over the opposite shoulder. And just finding some softness. feeling that gentle pulling of the connective tissue into a shape that doesn't spend a lot of time in daily. Two more breaths here. And then we slowly help those knees back up. Do whatever is needed between sides. And prepare for the other side. So either having something catch the knees as they come down, something between the knees as they come down, finding the right angle for you, perhaps having the body slightly turned towards that side, or starting to open it up to the sky, perhaps even gazing over the opposite shoulder. And again, finding that place where you can be soft, where the breath can still flow. Where you can settle into this new shape. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. And then slowly bring yourself out of that twist, doing whatever you need to do in between sides. And so we're going to get set up for legs at the wall, but as always, you don't need a wall. If you don't have a wall nearby, you can use a couch or a bed and just drape your legs over the side of that couch or bed so that the lower legs are supported and that you can just let go into that. But just the mere act of having that pike at the hips there and the legs above the hips, that's the position, that's the shape that we're going for. You may or may not have a bolster. If you have one of these bolsters, it's best. And then it can butt right up into the wall. If not, you can just bring your hips into the wall and then adjust so that the hips get as close to the wall as possible. Once you get there, the legs can passively hang out. You find a comfortable place for the arms. And then you let the bones start to settle. You start to feel the reversal of flow, helping the lymphatic fluid move from feet to heart, closing the eyes and coming back to the breath. The feet can fall naturally. The legs at about hip width, but whatever feels natural. The pelvis settles into the earth. Let's stay here for at least 10 more breaths, and you could stay here for final relaxation or move onto your back. You could bring blankets. Prop your knees up underneath you. Whatever best suits you in this moment. Listening to the messages of your body. If you'd like to move into a Shavasana, you may do it now. Fully finding comfort, peace, and making space for you. Nodding to all the parts of yourself and holding space, showing up. Showing up without stories, judgments, explanations, or the need to fix anything or change anything. Showing up with compassion, love, unconditional love and acceptance. Stay here for as long as you possibly can, or slink off towards bed. As you cradle all of yourself, all of you, in big loving arms. I thank you so much for sharing your practice with me, for sharing this space with me, for being safe with me, making me feel safe to share with you. As we continue to show up for ourselves, we are actually also making space for others. The more we have love and compassion and acceptance towards ourselves, the more we model this for everyone else. So I wish you peace. I wish you so much love. And I'm so grateful for all of you.